Another 2 minutes or so. How's everyone been?
Good.
So you both kind of recently actually. You brought your sheets back. Very good.
Yeah.
No, leave your sheets.
I can keep my notes in all one place.
No, that's very
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. It's not.
I didn't have to waste paper.
It's great. It's great. It's win-win.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
You lost. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I have to make myself like a little checklist. I'm like, where am I in like all this stuff?
In terms of your own.
Yes, it's like there's new things that I'm trying, and I'm like I've got to put it down like in like some categories and like see, okay, like make goals. Okay, this month I'm gonna work on this, so that because I tried the light thing and like my lights were on and I couldn't sleep, and I was like, oh my god, I need a new system. So I haven't figured that one out.
For you, a Friday afternoon checklist is really key. That's like, it's too many little things, like this light on, this light off, refrigerator this way, that, like a candle lighting checklist.
Yeah, I need that. I'm getting lost. I think I saw
It
one.
has to be when you open the refrigerator, sometimes it turns on the light.
Yeah, so how does that work?
So either you can unscrew the bulb,
No. Really?
and then you open it, nothing happens. Or that's easy. Or you can tape a little button,
Yeah,
so when you open it, nothing happens.
What's your mom do?
everyone just takes it.
No.
Some refrigerators have Shabbat modes.
Yeah,
That's
mine
amazing.
does.
A lot of the fancier ones they do. You look through the owner's manual, see Shabbat mode like instructions.
Oh, that'd be worth it.
I haven't figured it out
Here.
yet. Yeah. The stove and the fridge and the dishwasher have it in it.
And a microwave. You can use
Right.
that anyway, so.
Yeah.
What would a dishwasher Shabbat mode let you do? I guess it's like a timer for
The
the
timer.
dishwasher.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
And it turns out, and it
And the lights are off. So
Oh,
you
light,
can-
yeah, all
so
the
you
control
put everything in
lights.
after dinner, you close it up, there are no lights, at a certain time, it runs the dishwasher, no lights, and you open it, and you can dish the next day. It's beautiful.
so I have figured it out.
I've never even heard of that. That's great. That's great. Stove, what they call Shabbat mode often is really more like Yom Tov mode. You can't necessarily use, even on quote unquote Shabbat mode, you still can't put things in the oven.
That's
So it's maybe a misnomer.
Okay.
So, but for Yom Tov, you can, it's useful.
I've got to get a Shabbat flat top.
Flats are like
Yeah.
a warming tray. Yeah, that's. Yeah, we haven't got any. This was the last warming trays electric.
But isn't it still like controlled by electricity?
But it's on the entire time.
Or on a timer. It's set up before, right? We're allowed to. We can have like our tools are allowed to work for us on Shabbat. So as long as you set everything up before Shabbat begins,
timer
before
coffee.
sunset, timer for your coffee, or you have lights switched on, they're taped, or a timer for your lamp, or a timer on your lamp, your meeting light, whatever. As long as it's all set up before and you're not touching it or adjusting it or turning anything on, then you can your thing can do so for you. So it still doesn't let you heat things in and up, and there's still certain restrictions, but so warming tray is probably the way to go. Right?
Yeah.
Warming tray is not used for cooking, it's just electric, flat.
And you should
Warm
just
it
warm
down,
things
Set
up.
up, yeah.
Yeah, that lets you warm things up, exactly. Things that are already cooked, you can warm in that way. So that's,
I just usually stick with the crock pot because I'm like, I can't figure out anything else. I should put it in the crock
all right, crock pot works also for certain things, yeah, but
But then I only have one dish that I eat.
yeah, that's also, you want to be able to have really nice meals for Shabbat and holidays, so you should, when you stay with friends, you should, you should,
Oh, purchase something and keep it there.
no, you should just ask what they do, like learn what they, like, it's like when you're,
Oh, yeah,
if you're a
yeah.
guest in someone's house, be like, can I come to the kitchen and see how you, like, heated this, like, how'd you prepare this, what you like, or if
Yeah.
you arrive on Friday, you're staying
Yeah.
with someone, like,
Yeah.
can I ask to help and see how they do
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah. That's helpful.
Chicken stuff is the warming pan?
You can put it in like a tray and then put it on the hot plate that you just warms it up.
Is there something about liquids though? If
It
it's
has to be dry, Dry things can be reheated. Yeah, we did this. So guys, this is Roman numeral 3. You just,
Right.
No,
just kidding.
it's in the holiday, you're allowed to on the holiday.
Holiday, allowed to cook. Holiday, you can only on Shabbat, you can't cook. Holiday that occurs on a weekday, you can do regular cooking.
Yeah.
So
But the
one
one
has a
that-
candle and she It's like a 76-hour candle that she keeps lit. And
For
then-
lighting candles, lighting
and
other
they
fires.
have gas
Yeah,
stoves,
yeah,
so you
yeah,
use
that
it.
works. That's great.
Or like usually
On the holiday, you can transfer fire, you just can ignite a fire.
Yeah,
So you have a 36-hour whatever candle, you can use it to
right,
light if you have to.
that's smart.
Okay, any other questions, urgent questions from your life that came up before we get, yeah?
Yes, I'm vegan, so I eat a lot of vegan food, so sometimes I don't know when to do the Shea Cole prayer or the,
Kadana,
the
or whatever, anything.
mezzanote.
Oh, 1 second, I'm sorry, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on. Hello? I can take a minute or two break if everything's okay, or I can rush home if everything's not okay. What's going on? Oh,
Sounds like the cutest voice.
I know.
I'm pretty sure the tooth you lost is a baby tooth. Does it have like the root, like a giant root also, like the part that's underneath the gum line, or it's just like a big tooth? I think it's probably not true. Why don't you take a picture of it and send it to me, okay? Take a picture and send it to me. I love you lots. I'm almost certain it's a baby tooth. Because okay.
How old is he?
He's 12. He lost his tooth, and he is worried that it's somehow he lost his like big tooth, and he needs to like take it, to go right away to the dentist and get it replanted. But it's a baby tooth because, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So he's gonna send me a picture when he gets a chance. And I'm gonna take. You're not a dentist, I don't know.
No, no.
So it was like an artificial meat stick, and I wasn't sure what
I think charcoal, any of those processed foods is charcoal.
Okay.
Things that are processed, they no longer look like what they.
Okay.
Oh, unless yeah, it wouldn't be, even if it's made from like wheat protein or something, it still would not be, it would still be charcoal if it's like processed like that. Okay, all right, let's actually, I'm gonna stop the camera and actually start it again, because I think it's just, none of this has to go on. None of our banter has to go on the speaker. I'm gonna stop this. Okay. Okay. We have where are we? We are Roman numeral 4. We have done letter A, letter B, letter C, letter D. Did we get to E yet?
I don't remember talking
A
about
little-
bugs.
Okay, we did F. Okay, thanks.
We talked about it a little bit, kind of tangentially.
Okay, so we'll talk about E, and we'll talk about F, which I think we also addressed tangentially. And then we'll go on G. Did we talk about G?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So you must have done, if you did G, you must have done. Okay, so if we did or did not do H?
We did do G and H.
So then you must have done E and F also. And,
Yeah, I definitely remember G and H.
Okay, fine. So then you can't eat bugs, okay? That's the, you know, that's eat insects. You have to clean vegetables well for insects. I cut things up and put them in like broccoli or lettuce or greens. I put them in a big bowl of cold water and add a little bit of vinegar to help stun the bugs. And I agitate it and I rinse it very aggressively in a colander. And I also look to make sure that there aren't any like very small bugs, okay? Because bugs are not nullified, they're not kosher, and they're not nullified in many times their volume if they're intact as insects. And a very small insect that's still visible to the naked eye could still be, you might miss if you don't wash it carefully, okay? That's bugs. Okay, so here's the picture. Okay. Baby tooth.
All is well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. Because how do I know it's a baby tooth? Because first of all, he hasn't lost the tooth before. Second of all, there's no root underneath. And he thinks there's a root, it's not a root.
And then the tooth fairy will come, right?
Yeah, he just very well come.
She only comes with
I don't want him to Google what it looks like when a real tooth falls out because he'll have nightmares. But like, it's not,
Yeah.
you know,
That's your first symptom.
right?
Good
He's
Google.
okay. Yeah. Okay, if you say so. Great. Don't worry, you're fine. Tooth fairy will be impressed. Okay. All right. Anyway, Okay. So HI. So areas, sink, dish, micro dishwasher. So and guests and other people in the house. So let's just talk about some like sort of more complicated things about kashrut. So your sink. So if you have two sinks, that's like really easy. One sink is for dairy, one sink is for meat. That's super easy. And in some places that's like very common. I interned at a show in Houston. Everyone there has. They don't only have two sinks, they have two kitchens, okay? It's like very, real estate is much cheaper, they have big houses, and everyone, when they build their house, they build like two kitchens. They were shocked that you could have you could keep kosher with only one kitchen. That was like a shock to them. So if you have two sinks, that's very easy. If you don't have two sinks, which is most of us, so you have a problem. How can you have dairy and meat things in the same sink? So the answer is the sink itself isn't maintained in a real kosher status, and you just use sink liners to keep the pots and pans from touching the sink directly. So you have one sink liner for dairy things and one sink liner for meat things, and those are always in the sink, and so then your pots and pans, as they're being washed, are never touching the surface of the sink itself. So the sink liner should that raises, like the best ones, like those plastic coated metal or plain metal that are sort of just raised even half an inch off the surface of the sink, and then even if you don't know what's a dairy, that you have like you're making a dairy. When you're making chicken soup and you pour out, it's still piping hot, and you pour it out a little bit, it goes into this, gets absorbed into the walls of the sink, okay, fine. And then when you're washing your dairy, you just put them on the rack, and so it's not actually touching, because over the course of the days, the walls of your sink will absorb dairy tastes and meat tastes, and you're just making sure that your pots and pans and silverware never touch the walls of the sink. Certainly not when there's like piping hot water. Okay? We saw that taste transfers under piping hot water so hot that your hands can't stay in it. So if you're washing things by hand and some mistake happens, if your hands are there, by definition it's not hot enough for like real kashrut problems to occur, because your hands are there as well. But maybe you would, I don't know, since you couldn't close the drain of your sink, fill it with piping hot water and soak things in. Because then the taste that's absorbed from the walls of the sink could come out and contaminate the things soaking in the sink. So that you wouldn't be able to do, but you could put things on the sink rack, inside the sink, fill it up with hot water and soap, and just let it soak there, and then you wash it out inside the sink. So you have dairy sponges and meat sponges, like it's really helpful that some are different colors, red, green, yellow, whatever, and for dairy and for meat, for your sponges and your dishwashing things, and then just have a dairy sink insert and then meat sink insert, and that's what we do. We have one sink, that's what we do. Okay.
Stickers.
Stickers help too. Stickers are really helpful also if you have like other people who are going to be in your house, whether it's a housekeeper or your like sister or whatever, like people are going to be visiting your home, house guests, like it's just helpful to have like just stickers everywhere, and then you just always know where to find things and put like with like, and it's less like make mistakes. Because like oh, like this is my dairy spatula, but like how would anyone else know that? This is a sticker on it, right? And then that way it gets returned to the way that's. We rented a furnished apartment 11 years ago when we lived in Jerusalem, and our landlords, they left us with like little post-its all over the kitchen. We actually left them there for like the first 6. We lived there for a year. I think for most of the year we had it up, which is just so helpful, never to have to like remind ourselves of what things looked like or where they belonged. Just the stickers were everywhere.
So just so I understand, like if I'm like washing salmon or fish or like any type of meat in the and I don't have any protection, like I'm just washing it in my hands, I could not put like a pot that I warmed up milk in that same sink on the ground, on like the bottom of the sink.
Yeah, because you're gonna if piping hot dairy comes in contact with the walls of the sink, which is not going to happen just in doing dishes, but it might happen over the course of the year because you're making, I don't know, you make a lasagna, and you take it out of the oven, and you put it out, and you make a French onion soup, and you put cheese on top, and a little bit spills over. Piping hot things are in a kitchen, and they could come in contact with the walls of the sink. And for that reason, the walls of the sink absorb dairy and meat tastes over the course of the year, and so you just don't want to put things directly in the sink.
Right now you have 2 sinks.
That's really easy. Then you kasher them both, and one dairy, one meat, and that's great. Then you can.
Can you wash utensils together?
No. So, right? You have 2 sets of utensils, 2 sets of plates, 2 sets of sort of cooking pots and pans.
But I couldn't soak them in the same water. Okay.
Technically, technically you could actually if they're soaked, because the meat taste is absorbed in the meat fork and the dairy taste is absorbed in the dairy fork, and then they would have to come out of the fork and go into the water where they would mix with the soap, which would make the taste rancid, and then they couldn't really be absorbed into the other gendered utensil in a way that would be problematic, so in fact it would be fine. And if it accidentally happens, it's fine, but we don't do that. We just keep everything separate. It's just easier to keep the two food genders separate. Fish is neutral, by the way. And neutral, if you have like a pot that you use for making vegetables or fish or eggs, which are all neither dairy nor neither meat, then you can really wash with either sink liner and not a concern. Microwaves are really interesting. Microwaves don't cook with heat, right? They send microwaves into the food. The microwaves, I believe, somehow agitate the molecules of the food, and that agitation, that kinetic energy, I guess, makes heat. So the heat generates from inside the food and comes out, but the walls of the microwave really could be cold, right? Other than the steam from the food going to them, but not actual. So microwaves are relatively easy to kosher because there's no. They should be boiled. You should boil water in that. Make sure they're clean, not used for 24 hours, and boil water in them, so steam it out in that way if the walls are clean. You want to have one gender covered in the microwave because you don't want, sometimes when food is heated in the microwave, even though there's no heat coming from the microwave, the food itself can get very hot and things start splattering off. And so you have hot dairy, piping hot, exploding off of your whatever, and then hitting the walls of the microwave, so then your meat stuff should be covered. So we do fire things, neutral things, and dairy things uncovered in our microwave, and meat things we cover in the microwave. One of those microwave covers. Or with a piece of china, whatever. There's, one part covered, one part uncovered. Dishwashers have piping hot water. Sometimes there's food residue in there that might get spread around. There's also soap, and so as things are being spread around the dishwasher, there's also soap. The soap is going to make all the food taste rancid, and therefore there's not going to be any possibility of kosher contamination from the dishwasher. So if you accidentally put your meat fork in your dairy dishwasher, or your dairy fork in your meat dishwasher, if you do it by accident, it's fine because there's soap. You've got mixed in. And I always put a little extra soap in. I put soap in a little soap cup, and then I put a few sprinkles outside the soap cup. So as soon as the dishwasher's on, there's soap mixed in, circulating throughout, and so any food that's there, any mistaken thing that I put in the wrong spot, right, you're going to put in my dishwasher by accident, it's all going to be fine. There's not going to be any kosher contaminations because soap was mixed in the entire system. So kosher dishwasher, you make sure the filter's cleaned out where some of the food residue gets caught, and you let it be unused for 24 hours, and then you run it once, and it's highest setting with soap, and that's good. That's assuming that the interior of the dishwasher is either plastic, rubber, or metal. If it's porcelain, like the old-fashioned dishwashers, then it's a problem.
So you can use the same dishwasher, but you'd have to run it.
If you kosher it and wait 24 hours and you kosher it, you could do it for the other gender. So if you're having a big party, normally you do dishwasher for meat, but you're going to have a dairy party coming up, so you let it run, you clean out the filter, you let it be empty for, unused for 24 hours, and you run it once, and it's highest setting with soap, then you can use it for your quesadilla party, or your fiesta, whatever you have, you can do that, okay? if you want to plan ahead. And if you have two dishwashers, why not? Go ahead, live it up. It's
In the perfect
Yeah.
world.
Or in Texas, in Houston, whatever you're ready.
Texas.
Yeah.
It's like the smaller dishwasher and she has two ones.
Yeah.
Okay. There you
I think
go.
it's so much easier when I feel like you have two sinks.
My
two microwave, two of everything.
my mother-in-law used to say, rich or poor, it's good to have money. So I guess it's one of those applications of that as well.
Luxury.
Okay, let's go. So guest housekeepers, you've got to explain, people who are going to be, let's say you have somebody who comes and does dishes or, is cleaning your home weekly or monthly or whatever it is. So tell them, you keep kosher and this is what you do, and orient them to your kitchen. In our experience over the years, having various people, babysitters and housekeepers and etc. Some people really take to it right away, and they're clever, and it's intuitive to them, and they figure it out, and they're just within, I don't know, really feel at home, navigating a kosher kitchen, and it's fine. Others that just don't get it. We've had one person, when it was a babysitter or something, said that when we refused to work for us because she didn't want to work for Jews. So that was also an experience we had once. But
Work.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the issue, but so explain, tell people, and just be forgiving when people make mistakes. Because if you have a lifetime of learning how to do this, or you have months or years of learning how to do this, and somebody else like walks in, you know, for X dollars an hour as your, you know, housekeeper or babysitter, and you know, okay, or your sister-in-law or whatever, your cousin, you know, like it's just not necessary. It's got to be forgiving and patient. Take the time to show them around and explain to them, and you know, maybe they, if someone's in your home regularly, hopefully they'll learn how to manage the kosher kitchen, and maybe they keep their own food separately in a certain way, and you can make that work. You know, they could keep a sandwich in your fridge and use paper plates to eat it or whatever. You know, eat their lunch if they're going to be eating lunch with you, or they eat in your plates, and they just eat kosher meals from your kitchen, etc. So I think that's, you know, just open communication, patience, goodwill, assuming that people can make mistakes, they're not out to get you, just mistakes happen, and that's how you get through. That's how we get by in this world without everything.
So if they do make a mistake, you have to kosher everything?
Depends on what the mistake was. If you can get a mistake, that's yes. That's always worth asking a question. Like text me, call me, or some other, you know, knowledgeable Jew. Rabbi is a good person to call for these types of questions. Like,
don't invite them again.
Those usually, I can't just invite my kids.
Yeah, and this is a big,
Well, usually
lot.
people hate doing dishes anyways, so, you know, they won't offer.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh, I woke up early, I want to help out, I do my dishes. Like, you know,
Yeah.
many mistakes, many kosher mistakes after the fact are just not that bad, and things are fine. Sometimes they are, but you flip and just ask. The better part of a year in rabbinical school learning about these kinds of like kashrut accidents and what happened. And that's sort of like the core part of the rabbinic curriculum for whatever historical reasons, is these kinds of responding to these types of kashrut accidents, and often it's just not so bad. If a mistake is made, the ramifications are usually not so severe. It's worth asking if there's a mistake. Yeah.
So I didn't ask about this, but so yesterday, there's a griddle in the middle of my stove,
Yeah.
and it was dirty. So my daughter went to go wash it, and she picked up the meat brush. It's red, but I saw her washing it with it. So what I did was I had her wash it, but then I had her put it on and filled it with water and boiled it.
Not necessary, it's neither necessary nor sufficient. Well, what do you use the griddle for? Use the griddle for actually roasting food directly, or just for putting stuff on top of it?
No, for direct, like French toast, like directly cooking.
Oh.
But I don't eat meat. Only my son does, but he knows he only uses the microwave or the oven for the meat.
So that sponge is used for washing meat dishes
Yeah, the scrub and brush, yeah.
by hand.
Mm-hmm.
Was it clean or was it dirty?
I felt like it was a little dirty.
So let's talk through this, okay?
Okay.
This is a good exercise, and then unfortunately I have to leave a little, because my kids are unattended right now, so with the 12-year-old, with his teeth, so
Okay.
he's in charge, no one of the
Okay.
So first of all, is this meat sponge really a meat sponge? Has it absorbed, so if it has like actual meat residue on it, then yes. If it's just been used to wash meat dishes, then it's only really a meat sponge if it came in contact with meat or meat taste under conditions of piping hot that you can't touch it, right? So if it's been used for hand washing, it's never been in contact with like anything meat. It's like quite hot enough for taste to be really absorbed.
Right, okay.
In what could be absorbed in is actual meat, okay? From, you know...
And the bristles.
Yeah, if it's dirty, that could be an issue. But if it's just like, if it's scrubbing out a pot, then maybe it's just char, which is not really meat, okay?
Okay.
So it depends on that. So that's sort of an empirical question. How is it used and how clean is it?
Okay.
But it might not be quite as bad as given that it's used for hand washing, okay?
Okay.
If it wasn't used within 24 hours, then whatever meat taste that's absorbed in it would also not be able to contaminate something kashrut-wise.
Okay.
And in a private home, we can assume things were not used for 24 hours unless you know for sure it was.
Right.
In a restaurant, all bets are off. In a private home, you can assume a pot, a plate, a fork has not been used for 24 hours unless you specifically remember to the contrary. If you used to scrub the griddle, that was also not done under piping hot conditions, right? You did that by hand, right?
Right.
So the griddle would not have absorbed, even if the meat, if you want to say, and maybe we do, that the meat brush actually had, let's say it had it was used that afternoon for scrubbing out a greasy meat, frying pan or whatever, where the hot dogs were, whatever. So even so in that extreme case, there was no piping hot meat that came into contact with the griddle.
Okay.
And so all you have to do is make sure the griddle never absorbed into the griddle itself any meat taste. The only thing you have to be concerned about is actual meat residue on the griddle. That you can take care of with soap and warm water. Okay? Since a griddle is used for like direct cooking for things on the fire, directly touching the griddle, you can't kosher it with boiling. Boiling is only a method for koshering things that themselves are used with water, like a pot, okay, or something like that.
It's the one where you have to flame
You
it.
have to flame, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So if were to be a problem, the boiling water would not have been sufficient. But I don't think, it seems like there was probably no real way that his washing could have caused that type of contamination of the griddle, as long as you just like make sure afterwards you soap in hot water, or soap in warm water, right, that you can touch by hand, and the griddle's fine.
Okay.
That was a good question.
Yeah.
So let's go further, okay? Like I said, so that you could have saved yourself some
extra.
just pick up a phone and call me. Right? That's literally what I just go to learn how to do. So not that I always know the answers without consulting, but at least these questions I know. I might know the answer. I know with whom to consult, as opposed to all the other dilemmas that people asked me that, which I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea.
Okay.
So working with this one, what's great team programming for synagogue, right? Who knows? No one knows that, but kasher pots and pans, that I know. Okay. Weighing between dairy and meat. The Talmud says that we not only we don't cook them together, we also don't eat them together. And the Talmud records the practice of waiting between meat and dairy. A Talmudic sage says, my father was so great, when he had meat, he would wait until the next day before he ate dairy. Whereas I'm much more, not as great. I wait just meal to meal. So what does meal to meal mean? It really can mean one of two things. Meal to meal could mean a certain amount of time, like, which in the Sephardic halachic tradition, Maimonides, and others say that means 6 hours, okay, or into the 6th hour from meal to meal, okay. They had 2 meals a day, separated by 6 hours, okay. The other opinion is, what's meal to meal mean? Meal's over, okay, not the same meal. So I say grace after meals, okay. Get up from the table, make sure there's nothing on my hands, make sure my mouth is clean. Meal's over, I can now have my dairy. That's the Ashkenazic halachic perspective. The general, what's emerged is sort of like a hybrid, which is we wait 6 hours, except for certain European, Ashkenazi communities where the practice developed to wait somewhat less than that. Some communities 45 minutes, some communities 3 hours, some communities 6 hours. 6 hours is most common, most prevalent. So the German community waits 3 hours. The Dutch Jews wait like 40 minutes or 1 hour. But essentially the Ashkenazic, Northern European tradition is meal to meal means when the meal's over, I say grace after meals, I make sure my mouth is rinsed out, meal's over, I can go on to have dairy. Whereas the Sephardic world, no, it's based on like the time between meal to meal, even not whether the meal's over. They were also concerned maybe there's meat in your teeth, and maybe it's still digesting in your stomach, so wait a certain amount of time. Those are the different practices. They're really all fine essentially, but that's do something. I guess 6 hours is what is recommended for people who have no particular tradition. Otherwise, I think 3 hours is pretty common in this community. That's my family was in Germany, generations ago, and that was I think what they did. So that's what I do in my family. But I think we're gonna have to pause here. Okay. We'll finish up JKL, M, and O relatively quickly the next time we meet, and then we'll go on to Roman numeral 5. And really, probably we'll actually shoot this maybe by the end of the summer. We'll finish up this entire cycle and start again in some point in the late summer or fall. Maybe if we get our act together. Okay, our next class is going to be, I'm leaving. It's the board meeting next week. Then I'm going to be in Israel for 3 weeks. Monday the 22nd. No, that's not going to work. I'm arriving. Yeah, Monday the 22nd. Monday the 22nd we can do this, okay? And,
so July 22nd.
Yeah. So I'm sorry for the delay. Send emails if there's I'm out of time. So. And let's meet again at let's do 7:30, okay?
Okay.
I'm really sorry. If you can stay for Mincha, they'd love to have you join them. I'm sorry, I have to rush home. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.